supposed to put the first 500 in the safe and lose the combination.
What's good, fam? It's your boy Cav, and we're back with another epic video. Now, in this video, we're going to be looking at something very interesting, something very important and powerful when you are analyzing your charts. Now, what we're going to be discussing right now is something that is very technical and highly efficient when you are analyzing the charts and looking to enter the market. Now, this is something that is not really spoken about a lot when it comes to trading, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to actually go about doing this. Now, what we're going to be discussing is a confirmation. I know that normally we use breaks of trend lines and also support and resistance as our double confirmation that price will go to our direction. But today we're going to be looking at something different, something that is really spoken about, something that is really discussed when it comes to analyzing the charts and looking to place trades within the market. And what we're going to be looking at is, say that price is actually moving to the downside like this. How do you go about knowing that price is actually going to go to the upside? Now, I'm looking for a 99%, well, not really 99%, but a 90% chance that price is definitely going to push to my direction. So if price is moving to the downside like this, making lower lows and lower highs, now what you want to look at is, we always say that the best confirmation that price is changing in direction is when it actually breaks structure. So if price makes lower lows and lower highs and it starts violating that structure, starts violating a downtrend rule, which is that price has to make a low that is lower than its previous low, a low that is lower than its previous low, and continue pushing like that. This is how we know that a downtrend is very strong and we are continuing with that downtrend. But once price starts changing in character and not respecting the rules of a downtrend anymore, that's when we know that there's a possibility that price is changing in character, it's changing in nature, and we could be looking at an uptrend. Of course, this is not always what this means, because it depends on the time frame that you're on and also the context that you would be in. So when we're looking at a downtrend like this, the best indicator that the market is changing in direction is when price breaks its lower high. So if we have our last lower high like this, and we see that price is actually breaking this lower high right here, that is our best indication that the market is going to be pushing to the upside. But of course, I know that a lot of people are going to say that, yeah, but I always set this as a perimeter and wait for the market to break it. The market does break that section, but the market always comes back down. So the market would actually break this level right here, but continue pushing to the downside and wonder what exactly is going on. Now, I'm going to be showing you guys a second confirmation that you can use when you want to place trades and push maybe with the market to the upside. So if you are looking for price to actually start pushing up, what confirmation do you use to ensure that price is indeed going to the upside? So back to this scenario right here. So if price was pushing to the downside and we see that it is now breaking our lower high, the second confirmation that you should wait for is when price actually gives you a setup. So this setup right here, we're going to have a closer look at the anatomy of this structure right here. So if price breaks this first perimeter right here, the second next thing to do is to wait for price to actually give us a structure like this. So price will give us a higher high and then a higher low. Remember, we're making lower lows and lower highs, and then suddenly price breaks this perimeter right here and makes a higher high and a higher low. And now this is the most important part right here. So once we are in this section right here, we also want price to give us another break of structure. Now, what the hell do I mean by that? What I mean by that is, when we get to this section right here, this would typically be on a lower time frame. So this section right here on a lower time frame would look like something like this. So again, on a lower time frame, we would still want to see a break of structure. So remember, I used to say in my older videos that in an uptrend, you want the market to push to the downside so you can start pushing up. So once price is making lower lows and lower high on a smaller time frame, so this would be this section, you want to see the market breaking this structure again. So you want to see the market violating the structure. Remember, this on a smaller time frame would look like this. And once price actually makes another break of structure, a violation of structure on a smaller time frame, that's when you would start placing your buys to push with the market to the upside. And this is the confirmation that you would use when looking to push with the market to the upside. So I want us to look at a real chart and see how you can actually go about implementing this strategy when you are placing trades within the chart. So say that we know that we are in an uptrend. You can clearly see this is GBP NZD. You can clearly see that the market has been pushing up in a nice uptrend, making higher highs and higher lows. Uptrend, I always say that you want to move to the downside, you can continue pushing with the market to the upside. So when we draw a trend line like this, I want us to look at what's been happening right here just to illustrate what I explained. What we're seeing right here is that in an uptrend, we want the market to come to the downside. You can clearly see that the market is making lower lows and lower highs, pushing down, pushing down, pushing down. And now from that illustration that I made, I said that to confirm that price is indeed going to the upside, you want to see price breaking structure. So price has to break its last lower high, and once price actually breaks its lower high, you can clearly see that we did indeed get a break right here. So after this break, how do you know that price is indeed going to the upside? Because price can actually trap you. You can set your parameter and say that price has to break its lower high. Price would break that lower high but continue pushing to the upside. How do you confirm and how do you ensure that price is indeed going to go to the upside? You wait for the next structure. So you wait for price to give you another setup. And what I mean by that is price has to first break this parameter right here. So this will be the first parameter that we set. And once price pushes up and comes down and gives us another higher low, and that is when we're going to zoom to this section right here to set another parameter. We see that price on a lower time frame, I know that price is making lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and came to this section right here, and price was still. What you want price to do at this point is for price to break this structure right here. This on a lower time frame. So if I hop to the 4-hour chart, you would clearly see that the market was moving in lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and it was still within this section. So once price actually broke the structure right here, remember we set our first parameter right here, price pushed up. When it came down, we set another parameter right here, and once we see this second break of structure, this is our confirmation that price is indeed pushing to the upside. I've seen a break of structure not once but twice. So once price actually gives you the second confirmation, this is a very strong confirmation that price is indeed pushing to the upside. One confirmation is really enough for you to make a trading decision. You should always wait for a second confirmation, a second strong confirmation that price is indeed going to push to the upside. Now I know that this requires a lot of patience. And when you are trading in the charts, you would actually start feeling like the market is moving without you. But remember, trading is a game of waiting. It's very similar to hunting. You have to wait for the animal to go into your trap before you start shooting. You have to wait for the market to come into your trap. It has to come within your killer zone. And once the animal starts stepping into that killer zone, that's when you would pull out your gun and start shooting. And this is exactly what I'm trying to illustrate right here. First, you have to wait for that first break right here. Our first perimeter was broken. And when we waited for the second confirmation, this is a strong confirmation that price is indeed pushing to the upside. And this is when you would pull out your gun and start shooting. Now let's look at a different section to illustrate this. Being on the daily chart, I want us to look at this. So we have actually established that we are in an uptrend. And I always say that in an uptrend, we want a move to the downside. So we can clearly see that we got a move to the downside right here. Price gave us lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. And it came to this standstill right here and gave us a double bottom. Now, what we want from here is for price to break our first perimeter. This is our first perimeter, and we can clearly see that price has indeed broken that perimeter. Now, what you normally want to do after that is hop onto a smaller time frame. And once we add this smaller time frame, you want to see what the market has been doing right here. Remember, this is our first perimeter that has clearly been broken by this candle right here. But you don't want to just hop in and say that, yes, my perimeter has been broken, I'm now going to buy. Because if you decide to actually place buys right here, you can clearly see that the market will just take you out and continue without you. What you rather want to do is wait for another setup. So wait for another push to the downside. So if price gave us a higher high, you want to wait for the market to give us a higher low, and it has to have structure. So that higher low has to give us some kind of a structure, and we can clearly see that we had a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and we had another double bottom right here, which is very similar to what we saw on that first setup. We have a touch right here and another touch, and price gave us a double bottom. And what we will do is set another perimeter right here. So once we see that price is breaking this perimeter, this is our confirmation that price is indeed pushing to the upside, and price is within our killer zone. Price has walked into our trap, and we are now ready to pull out our shooting gun, and we will start shooting. So once we see this break right here, this is when we would actually start pulling out our gun to start placing trades to push with the market to the upside. And you can clearly see that price respects this approach, and it is a very technical and very safe and efficient way to look at the chart and to ensure that you never hop in early within the chart. Sometimes it's not that you are unable to analyze the charts. Sometimes the problem is that you see a setup, but you rush to place your trades. So you should always wait for the market to give you a strong confirmation. It's all about waiting for a strong confirmation before you can start looking to place trades within the market. Because I know that I'm not the only one that has been in a situation where you would see that price is giving you a nice setup and you place a trade, only to realize that it takes you out, and after a while you would actually leave that trading pair. And after a week, when you check how the market has been behaving, you see that price has actually respected your setup. But the only issue is that you were quick to place your trade and you did not wait for the market to give you a second or third confirmation that it was indeed doing what you were speculating. So again, just to quickly recap, when the market is moving to the upside, we know that in an uptrend, we want higher highs and higher lows. And after every impulse, we want a correction. After every impulse, a correction. And this correction right here is very important because this is where we will analyze what the market is doing. So going in even further, we know that this on a lower time frame, so this would typically be on a weekly or daily chart, we would have something like this. The first thing that we want to do is set a parameter, and once price breaks that parameter, this is our first indication that the market could be trying to change in direction. You don't want to jump in early and be off the assumption that price is pushing to the upside. You rather want to wait for the market to push without you, come back to make another corrective move, and you set your second parameter. And once price breaks that parameter, I can assure you that this would be a very strong confirmation that price is indeed looking to start pushing to the upside. And this is where you would place your trade and let the market come into your killer zone. And this is when you would start shooting and push with the market to the upside. Now, I wanted to keep this nice and short. I hope you guys have actually gained a thing or two from this video. And if you did, please do make sure that you like this video. It does help me a bunch. And if you are a beginner trader and looking to navigate your way around the charts, I do offer free content where I share different simple strategies that are very effective and will help you in filtering all the nonsense within the charts and focusing on what works, and potentially get to a level where you are able to trade with confidence and profit within the charts. The most important thing is to make money from the charts. So it is very important that you focus on what works and avoid anything that is just going to delay your success and anything that just complicates your analysis. I wish you guys a profitable week and stay fantastic. Peace.
Supposed to put the first 500 in the safe and lose the combination.